Within days, the story didn't just leak, it erupted. On a cold case forum known for its obsessive users and deep threads, an anonymous account under the name MC Trail posted a pixelated image. It was a partial scan of the FBI memo. Redacted. Blurry. But damning. One phrase stood out, bold despite the distortion: routine surveillance confirmed, victim unaware. The post was taken down within hours. But screenshots spread like wildfire. Then, just 3 days later, fire consumed a property just outside Mason City. The structure was a modest, one-story house with a weathered roof and rusting mailbox. It belonged to a now-deceased municipal contractor who had worked with the city during the 1990s. But the house wasn't vacant. A relative had moved in, someone who had been sorting through the man's possessions, including boxes labeled with case notes, interview tapes, and a folder marked simply, KMT. The fire department ruled it suspicious. Accelerants were found. The blaze had started near the back room, the room where those boxes were kept. The local media didn't report it. But whispers spread. Was someone trying to erase the past before it caught up with them? The team behind the podcast Find Jody responded fast. They aired a bonus episode, late night, raw, unedited. The hosts sounded rattled. They introduced 2 anonymous callers. Their voices were altered. Identities withheld. The first caller, a former city employee who said she had worked near Jody's newsroom in the 90s. She recalled overhearing conversations about a man who always seemed to know where Jody would be, even when it wasn't public knowledge. He wasn't threatening, she said. But he was present. Too present. The second caller, a woman who once lived in Jody's apartment complex. She remembered a black Buick. Parked for hours. Engine off. A man inside. Clean cut. Always watching. He never looked at anyone else, she said. Only at her window. Both tips had reportedly been submitted back in 1995. Neither were ever followed up. By mid-2023, the cold case had new life. New funding. And new tools. Forensic genealogy, once the domain of ancestry kits and family trees, was now helping solve decades-old murders. Jody's belongings, held in evidence for nearly 30 years, were retested. The results, inconclusive. Partial male DNA. A few markers. Not enough for a match. But just enough to exclude others. One of those excluded. A former suspect many believed had motive. But more shocking than the lab report was a testimony from someone hiding in plain sight. A night janitor, now elderly and living out of state, came forward after hearing the Find Jody episode. Under oath, he admitted seeing something back in 1995. A man. Arguing with Jody. In the KMT parking lot. It was 1 week before she vanished. He recognized the man from around town. And when shown a photo, from a list of past city employees, he identified him. The same name tied to the burned property. With that, the case shifted. A young detective, new to the department, unconnected to the original investigation, took over in early 2024. She reopened every box. Rescanned every document. Cross-referenced every schedule. She mapped Jody's known movements in the weeks before her disappearance. Phone records. Security logs. Gas station receipts. And time after time, one name kept surfacing. Not the man who threw her a birthday party. Not a jealous boyfriend. Not an obsessed fan. But someone in the background. Watching. Waiting. The same man referenced in the memo. The one whose house burned. The one whose storage unit was about to yield its own secrets. In June 2024, a fire broke out at a storage facility just outside Clear Lake, Iowa. Among the destroyed units was one rented in 1999. The name on the lease? A former public employee. The same man, again. Inside the ruins, half-melted VHS tapes. Singed notebooks. A fragment of a press badge. And a photo. Jody. Smiling. Casual. At a local event. It hadn't been seen before. It was taken just weeks before she disappeared. But who took it? And why did they try to destroy it? Based on the disappearance of Judy Huisentruit, it melted. But one frame remained, a face in the static. And it wasn't Jody's. A close-up still of a blurred man's face, paused mid-motion. A timestamp, June 10, 95. 17 days before she vanished. For nearly 30 years, we thought we knew who was watching her. But the truth? He was recording. Investigators recovered 3 partially damaged tapes from the scorched unit. Each one marked by date, location, and a single set of initials, LV. The first tape shows local parades and public events, seemingly harmless. The second tape? Footage taken from a vehicle. Parked outside Jody's apartment. Zoomed-in shots of her door. Her window. Her car. The third? Audio only. But the voices are familiar. One of them, confirmed by audio experts, matches a city official connected to the original investigation. Was he a suspect? Or was he being watched too? 2 weeks after the fire, a retired investigator came forward. He asked to remain anonymous. But what he had was chilling. He'd been contacted by a woman back in 1999, a waitress who worked near the station. She claimed a regular customer left a tip and a warning, tell her to stop asking questions. It's not just a story anymore. When the investigator tried to follow up, the woman had moved. No forwarding address. Until now. She resurfaced in a cold case support group under an alias. Her real name? Redacted from every record, except one. An old employee complaint filed by Jody, naming her as the last person to see her leave the station, *. Inside the storage unit, police also recovered a notebook. Pages burned. But the remaining entries include maps, phone numbers, and references to local landmarks, all within walking distance of Jody's home. And scribbled in the margin, 2 a.m., she never looks back. The handwriting? A preliminary match to a man whose name has come up before, but was dismissed due to lack of evidence. He passed away in 2013. But his brother, still alive, has recently lawyered up. An anonymous voicemail is sent to the local sheriff's tip line in early 2025. It's distorted. Male. But the message is unmistakable. You're looking in the wrong direction. It wasn't about love. It was about exposure. Check the tapes. The originals, not the ones in the file room. 2 weeks later, that sheriff's office is burglarized. Nothing stolen, except a 1995 video log of station security footage. All backups wiped. As pressure mounts, Mason City's cold case unit faces internal division. Some detectives want to go public. Others insist on holding the new evidence. But one thing is clear. The case is no longer about a missing woman. It's about who wanted her story buried, and how many were willing to help. In a recent interview, Jody's former colleague said, she wasn't just a reporter. She knew how to follow a trail. Maybe that's what scared them. And maybe, that's why she never made it to work that morning. A new lead now points investigators to a secluded cabin once owned by a former contractor, near the Iowa-Minnesota border. Neighbors say someone's been there recently. Even though the cabin's been empty for over a decade. Next time on Lesser Cases, Where the Road Ends, Her Story Begins. Where the Road Ends, Her Story Begins, Part 3. The Cabin. The unedited footage. And the one call Jody made, that no one knew existed. If you made it this far, we want to hear from you. Do you think the tapes are authentic? Could this all connect back to someone in law enforcement? Drop your thoughts in the comments, because your voice might be the one that cracks this case. Subscribe to Lesser Cases. Share the story. And remember, silence doesn't last forever. Not in Mason City.